Hello team, good morning. Good morning everyone. Good morning everybody. Please log in from your laptops. It's important. If you can log in from laptops, you can take some running notes which will be adding a lot of value. Okay. So hi team, we are live day 2. Okay. Coding first Spring Boot application. So let us share the link and then we will be getting started for today. Meanwhile, everyone, please log in from your laptops and take some running notes of important things. Okay. And in between, when we are taking some pause, when I'm asking you to think and summarize it in your own words, so please keep doing that because your summary is going to be more useful for you, because when you read it, you will understand it very strongly. So, okay, the links are shared. We can get started for today. Let me share my screen and we will be getting started. Good morning, everyone. Okay, guys, here is my video. The time is 10:03. Here is the screen share. Good morning, all. Good morning, all. Okay, guys. So before we start with today's topic, could you please mark a poll here, guys? Okay, everyone. Nice to see you bang on time. Let's get started with the today's topic. I'm putting up a poll here. Please mark it. How many of you completed drawing yesterday's diagram? Okay. Yesterday's diagram where Git and AWS flow was there. Git plus AWS flow. Okay. Let's say done, or let's say not done. Everyone, please mark this poll, guys. And then we will be getting started with today's topic. It's already on YouTube, so it is going to be recorded by default. Let's see, currently we have 50 plus members, 74% saying yes. Okay, chalo, the rest of the members also, please mark it. Did you complete the yesterday's diagram? Means you should be able to draw it by yourself. Okay, guys, that is the key. Because looking at my diagram, you will understand it. Okay, but you should be able to put this diagram in your own words with proper flow. So take a blank page and start drawing this kind of a diagram with the full flow. How many of you have completed it yesterday? That's the poll. And we are seeing 70% members have done it, and that is pretty great. Okay, so all the members who completed it, that is super. This is the quality required for success: taking actions. Okay, so you have to take actions because that is where your understanding will be imprinting in your mind. If you only listen, you will forget also. So, but when you do things, you will remember it, you will strongly understand. While you are drawing the diagrams, more clarity will come to you, and I think you will already experience it. And those who have not done it, okay, so guys, you have to do it, because if you really want success, you want a job, you want a career, you have to be an action taker. That is where results come. Only understanding is step number 1. Okay, when you get strong grip, only when you practice. So please be aware of that. Practice is key here. Now let's start with today's topic. We are going to get technical, and we are going to get from project perspective. So everybody, please put your entire attention and let's start with today's topic. Guys, we will be building first Spring Boot application. Okay. Now, what is Spring Boot, why, and all that? We will be understanding all of those things today. Okay. Let's go for diagram. So just imagine you are building a web application. Let's say any kind of a website that you see. Okay. So this is like website, which we can call it as a web application. Basically, there will be 2 parts to this. There is going to be front end part, and backend, right? So there is one UI part, the front end part, and backend where the business logic will be executing behind the screen. So if you take any application, you want to build a web application, which is going to comprise of front end part. It is going to comprise of back end part, and then it is also going to have the database, right? Three portions. Now, backend, we can say, let's say we will be writing a Java application for this. Front end, you can say, front end, you can do it in Angular, React, Vue, whatever kind of a front end language. Now, what happened? For a very long time in the IT related world, this front end and the back end, generally people were developing it together as one box. Okay, this front end and the back end, they were developing it together as one box. And then database was outside. So what you can say, in an application, front end code was together, plus back end code is also there, and then DB was outside. And somehow your application is supposed to talk to this. So simple, this kind of applications we can build using one of the framework which is available, Spring MVC. Okay. So this is how it used to happen for a very long time in the Java related community also, that front end and the back end, they were built as part of the same application, and using Spring MVC, we can achieve it. And then there is a lot of things which you can use for front end application building. Now also, some of the projects might still have this kind of a flow in the real world. However, what happened is, over a period of time, microservice principles or microservice based system started to grow. Okay, microservice based system started to grow. Now, what is a microservice based system? The backend applications, you start developing it as a separate service. So then what started happening? This project got transformed into two separate projects. One became a front-end application. One became a back-end application. So two separate projects altogether. Okay. So this became a front-end application. This became a back-end application. Means entire project was coded itself different, technology itself is different. And then you had your database, which is here. So this is how industry has grown step by step. So earlier, using Spring MVC, you can build an application where front end plus back end, it will be as part of the same project. Then over a period of time, people said, no, front end world is also growing too much, back end is also growing too much, let's split it too. So they created separate projects, front end separate, back end separate. Okay. And then what started happening? They deployed this kind of an application into AWS. So just imagine, this is a AWS infrastructure. Inside the infrastructure of AWS, they will be deploying this front-end application also separately and this back-end application also separately. So accordingly, it could be on same machines or different machines also. So this is a separate machine running in production system. Here your front-end application is running and your back-end application is running. So this is how the work happens. So project is taken initially using Spring MVC that was built together as one project itself. Then over a period of time, project got split. Front end is now separate, back end is now separate. All the technologies of front end can be applied independently, back end can be applied independently. And then what happened? These all were deployed separately into the AWS cloud also. This is running separate, this is running separate. And then what happens, guys? Let's say the end user of the world, they log in into their systems, let's say in a browser, Chrome or whatever browser. So in the browser, when they start typing URLs, We are discussing about the basics of how this technology world works. So when you type some URL, okay, let's say myapp.com. So browser URL, we type myapp.com. What they started doing is they started creating one DNS registry also. DNS, domain naming service registry, something like GoDaddy or Cloudflare. Okay, these kind of systems are there, which even AWS is providing some services where domain mapping is going to happen. So this kind of a domain, myapp.com, is going to be mapped with some IP behind the screen, IP address. So what people started doing, now you have two applications. One is a front-end application, one is a back-end application. Whenever somebody launches a URL in the browser, basically a front-end application should be deployed. So what they started doing, they wanted an IP here for this domain. Now they have to decide which IP it is going to be. So what did they do? Did they provide front-end or back-end? Ideally, front-end is required. But guys, in the real world, your applications are not directly exposed to the outer world. Please be aware of that. Even though it will be running behind the screen, your applications will not be exposed to the outer world. Rather, there will be one more piece of software in between. Okay, so this software, we can say this is some software like a load balancer, or this software can be an API gateway, or this software could be something else like a server, Nginx. Okay, so these are multiple options which acts like the entry-level softwares. So what is going to happen? When this domain mapping happens, they will be mapping this domain with the IP address of this entry-level software. So what is going to happen? When from the browser, you access a particular domain, it is first going to go to domain naming service, and it is going to get the details, which is the corresponding IP available of mapped with this domain. That kind of a response is going to come back to your machine. And then once you have this IP, your application will directly be talking to that IP. This is how the flow basically happens. So when you use this domain, it first goes to the DNS, gets the corresponding IP. Once you have that IP, your machine directly talks to that destination, and generally this destination will not be directly of the applications, rather it will be of some this entry level softwares. It can be some load balancer or API gateway or Nginx kind of software. Multiple other options are also possible. Okay, next what happens? Here, routing rules will be there. Routing rules. Routing rule means what? Based upon this input which is coming, where should we give the request? Decision making will be there. For the incoming, this what do we call technically? URL. So whenever this incoming URL is coming, okay, let's say for example, https://myapp.com. Based upon this incoming URL, where I should pass this request, that kind of routing configuration is going to be available. And generally, when you are basically accessing just this application, it will be further redirecting it to the front-end application, which is deployed in your AWS infrastructure. We are trying to understand the flow of how the real world works. It will redirect to the front-end application, and then accordingly, front-end is going to give a response back, and then this response comes back to your browser, and then front-end code is going to run in your browser. Then front-end application, whatever front-end code is written, is going to run in your application. And now in this front-end code, you might like to call this backend services. So guys, are you understanding how the flow works? Yes, in the AWS, both the front end and the back end is going to be deployed. But when the user is requesting, it goes via the DNS. to the entry-level software where routing configurations are available. It reaches to the front-end application and then gets the response, and that is going to be rendered. So all the images, JavaScript code, HTML, CSS, everything is going to be then loaded onto the browser, and then the code will run here. So it is deployed there, it is executes in the client side at the browser side. Beginners basically get some confusion here, where it will happen, what will happen, because clarity is required. So now we are discussing that clarity. So deployment will happen here, but it runs in the client side. Client is nothing but this browser guy. The users, we can call them as the client side. So yes, it is going to run here. Now just imagine in this front-end application, now you are coming up with pages. So in the front-end application, now you come up with some pages. And these pages will have, let's say, some text fields. Okay. And then it is going to have some submit button or login button or make a payment button or transfer money button or comment button, post button. Some feature is going to be there, right? What is going to happen now? This request should go to this backend. So accordingly, again, what is going to happen? Behind the screen, when you make this API call, it is going to use a similar kind of domain again. Okay? Similar kind of a URL is going to be composed, maybe with a different extension, something like /login. And accordingly, this request is going to go back from this place to the entry-level software. And here the routing configuration is going to be there, which says, okay, when a request comes /login, then we need to give it to this kind of a backend application. So some routing rules will be there, which will be taken, okay, and then this URL is going to be mapped accordingly, and then here it knows where the backend services are also running, and then it goes there, and then this guy is going to do the processing. Now this is going to be our microservice. Here it's going to be our microservice. Here is going to be what we discussed yesterday: controller layer, service layer, repository layer. All the business logic, all the intelligence you will be doing at this layer. And then accordingly, if required, you will talk it to the database. Here some database is going to be there. And accordingly, you will be responding back with some information, and which will go back here. And from this place, it is going to go back to the application also. It is going to go back to the application also. So guys, take a minute to really understand this flow. Okay, let's see whether we are able to point this arrow. Yeah, yes. Okay. So guys, everyone, take a minute to understand how this flow works, because we need to really get the basics clear. This is how the general web world works. Earlier times, front end and the back end were being developed as part of the same project. Now, some of the projects might be like that, but majority of the projects have moved to a different model. Front end applications completely being developed separately, back end applications completely being developed separately. Separate projects, separate technology. Deployment is also separate. Execution is also separate. So once you build the application, it will be deployed in AWS, and then these applications will not be exposed to the real world directly. Rather, some entry-level softwares are going to be there, something like a load balancer, API gateway, Nginx kind of software. And whenever somebody tries to make a request, the request will go via the domain. It will fall here. It will get the corresponding IP from that location. Then it will talk there. Based upon the URLs, routing rule will be there, which will go make it to the front end. Response is going to come back. Website will load here. That is where it is important. Always remember this. Never trust the front end application. When I started my IT career, my managers told me this: never trust the front end application. Simple reason: the code which is coded on the front end side is running in the client browser. And what if there is an attacker or a hacker? They might affect something on the front end side. So always backend should assume that front end can be compromised and accordingly try to build a rock solid system. This is how my manager told me when I started my career. Same message I am passing to you also. Front end application runs with the customer. If they try to hack the code or do something there, okay, it can be a compromise. So never trust the front end application. It can be compromised. Okay, so just be aware of that. Security wise, validations wise, your backend should be strong enough to support all of those things. Okay, so guys, everyone, please open up your notepad and write down this flow into your notepad as well. Everybody, please open up this notepad. Write down these below statements along with me. Everybody, please do this. This is how you will actually gain understanding. Okay, front end and back end application should be developed as separate projects. That's point number one. Write it down, guys. Front end and back end application should be developed as separate projects. These separate projects will be deployed independently in cloud, let's say AWS. Deployed and executed independently in cloud. That's the second point. Point number 3, your application services, even front end is our application only. So your application services will not be directly exposed to the outer world. Then how it is going to be exposed? It will be exposed via some entry level software. What is the entry level software? Load balancer, API gateway, or Nginx. There could be other also. Write it down, guys. Basic understanding. This thing should be crystal clear in our minds. How the thing works. Next, point number 4, guys. In DNS, we will have domain mapped. Okay, let's say rdomain.com versus it is going to be mapped to IP of the entry level software. Okay, there is one more point you have to understand here. Chalo guys, please write it till this point. In the DNS, we will have the domain mapping, domain versus IP of the entry level. Now, please be aware of this. Some of the juniors again are confused on this point also. When you run your application, it is going to run on a port. Okay, so when you run any application, it occupies a port. So by default, for this entry level system, 2 ports is going to be activated, 80 and 443. So always remember, whenever an application runs, it occupies a port. By default, when you're running this entry level softwares, it will always start on 80 and 443. These 2 ports will be exposed. Now, what happens is, if you use this URL, HTTPS, so you will be reaching it out on 443 port. This understanding we need to have. So there is a clear-cut mapping. Whenever you make HTTP request, that request is going to go to this port. And whenever you do HTTPS request, so that will go to 443 port. So we need to be aware of that. So this is something which juniors stay confused. So whenever an entry level software is started, it will by default expose 2 ports, 80 and 443. Whenever in the real world somebody uses HTTPS, then the communication will happen in this manner. Whatever is the IP mapped here, so from the domain you will get that, and you will be getting something like this, whatever IP is available, and on that IP address, okay, you will further be going via 443 port, and that's how your communication is going to be handled. And if you do HTTP, so HTTP request is going to go via, let's say, that IP address and 80. So that we need to be aware. During interview time, they might discuss it with you. Okay, whenever HTTPS request happens, which port it maps to. So the port is 443. And for HTTP request, it is going to be 80. So what is the next point here? What is the next point here? Point number 5. When you run an application, it will expose some ports or occupy some ports. Your entry-level software will expose 443 for HTTPS connection and 80 for HTTP connection. Please be aware of this. When you run an application, it will do like this, your entry level. Accordingly, the communication will happen. Okay. Now, what is the next step? Please write it down along with me, guys. What is the next step? In browser, when you launch the domain, okay, browser gets the mapped IP from domain naming service registry, okay, and further connects to the entry level software. This is the entry level software. Okay, next, point number 7. Routing rules are configured at entry level, which will decide whether to give request to front end or back end. There might be more than one backend microservices. So where it should go, all that routing rules is going to be configured accordingly. Okay, let's say if it's front end, request goes to front end. So guys, just write down till this point. The same thing is going to happen for the backend flow also. Okay, when you fill it, submit it, this request will also go to the entry. It will be decided it needs to go to this, and it will go. So at least write down till this point. Okay, and we can just say point number 8. Accordingly, request is processed and response is sent back. This is the full flow. It could be front-end response, where it will give all the HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and the application code. And if it is a backend will process it, and it is going to give a response back. So guys, everyone, please write down these 8 points. Please write down these 8 points. Once you are clear with how these things operate, then it becomes easy to understand what you are doing, how you are doing it. Chalo guys, once you are done, please give a quick thumbs up, then we will move to the next point. Focus is required, guys. Focus is required. Don't be distracted here and there. Give your 100% attention to this conversation. Showcase it during the interview. Wherever you are getting some doubts, note down your doubts. Later, work with AI to get your more clarity on the topic. Chalo everyone, once you are done, please give a quick thumbs up. Then we will resume with the next point. Okay, some of the members are giving the confirmations. That's good. That's good. Now, let's move to the next area. Everything is related to each other. So try to think logically. If you are thinking properly, it will become very easy to understand. So try to think logically. Let's think together. Everyone, now please focus back again on the topic. Now, what is happening is your front-end application is there deployed here, but executed in the client browser. And just imagine when this guy wants to make this call should go to your backend application. So just imagine somehow this backend application is supposed to receive this information, username, password. Let's say if it is a login functionality, username, password should go to the backend. This backend guy is supposed to check it in the database, whether it is a valid user, and accordingly give something back. Yes, it is successful, everything is okay. Now the user can continue with the remaining flow. Nothing but how these systems will talk to each other. That's the next point we have to understand. One system is running somewhere in the customer browser. Another system is running inside AWS, some server. These two guys want to talk to each other. How two parts of the system can talk to each other? And that is where comes the concept of API. Okay? So that is where comes the concept of API. Two parts of the systems can talk to each other using API. Application Programming Interface. Application Programming Interface. So using the concept of an API, this front-end application can talk to the back-end application. Just be aware. Two parts of the system trying to talk to each other. The concept is API. Now just imagine if you have one backend application and another backend application. So if these two guys want to talk to each other, they will also be using some concept like API. So you can imagine when two systems are connecting with each other, let's say this is a front-end application, this is backend application 1, backend application 1, and this is backend application 2. Systems can be built in this manner. Multiple backend services are running. That's what is microservices. Don't develop entire project as one big project. Rather, split it into separate services, run them independently. We are still yet to discuss official definition of what is microservice. In future, we will talk about that. For now, just understand this definition. Yesterday we said, today I am repeating it again. Simple definition. Okay, don't develop entire backend application as one big project. Rather, break it down into independent services. It can be coded independently, deployed independently. So this is a separate project. This is a separate project, coded separately, deployed separately, executed separately. But they can talk to each other. So when this backend application wants to talk to another backend application, how do they do? API is the concept. Front-end application running on the client browser wants to talk to your backend application. How do they do? Again, the concept is API. So now we need to really understand that, okay, two systems can connect to each other using API. Then a concept came, okay, how to develop APIs? Okay, how to develop APIs? So accordingly, some kind of protocol started coming in picture. Okay, so REST API or SOAP-based API. Okay, nothing but, okay, you want to develop an API, that is fine. But while developing, there are some guidelines, there are some rules. These rules are nothing but REST-related rules or SOAP-related rules. These are standard common protocols which are available. Now, majority of the communication in the real world happens based upon REST API only. Nothing but, fine, you want to develop an API. Okay, that is very good. Now, while you are building the API, some guidelines will be there for you. Okay, follow these kind of guidelines. So REST team, some REST principles are available. REST principles or REST guidelines are available. When you develop an API using REST guidelines, We call them as REST APIs. Okay. And REST APIs are nothing but they are web APIs. Web API is nothing but exposed via HTTP and HTTPS protocol. So these are some basic things we have to understand. Okay, two parts of the system can communicate with each other, then it is going to communicate via API. One more thing we can define here, web API. When two parts communicate over the web, nothing but HTTP/HTTPS protocol, we call it as web API. So there are multiple terminologies. Terminology one, two systems want to communicate with each other. Okay, they are using APIs. When this communication is happening over the web, nothing but using HTTP/HTTPS. When this communication is happening using this kind of protocol, we will say then it is web API. So there are other types of APIs also. But when the communication is of HTTP, HTTPS nature, we say, hey, this is a web API, and we say, hey, this is also a web API. So API is a generic term. Two systems can connect to each other, API, generic term. But when this communication is in a web manner, HTTP and HTTPS, we call it as web API. So please be clear with these terminologies. Now comes the question, how to develop web APIs? So for that, these protocols are available. REST protocol is available. SOAP protocol is available. So these are the protocols, nothing but how to develop web APIs. Nothing but there are guidelines provided. Okay, what steps needs to be done in the form of REST and SOAP. These are common things which are there in the market. If you follow REST related guidelines, you are building a REST API. If you are following SOAP related guidelines, you are building a SOAP API. So guys, what you need to understand, two parts of the systems want to communicate with each other, that is an API. Second point you have to understand, when this communication is over web, HTTP, HTTPS protocol, then it is web API. How to develop web API? There are guidelines given in the real world. REST and SOAP, these are some of the guidelines. In the REST, there will be do this, do this, do this, do this, and you're building a REST API. SOAP means, again, some guidelines, rules. You follow all that, you're building a SOAP API. Now, majority of the projects in the current world is exposing REST APIs. Nothing but the web APIs developed using REST guidelines. Okay, so please be aware, these web APIs are sometimes also called as web services. Web APIs are also called as web services. When you develop REST APIs, you can call it as RESTful web service or RESTful API. Basically, all these terminologies are one and the same. Okay, so what is an API? Two parts of the system can talk to each other. That's an API. When they talk over the web, it is called as a web API. Web API is also called as a web service. Web API is also called as a web service. How to develop web APIs or web service? There are standards for that. If you follow REST, then it is REST API. If you follow SOAP, then it is a SOAP-based API. So what is a REST API? Nothing but REST guidelines or REST principles will be there. When you develop an API using REST guidelines, you're basically developing a REST API. So this REST API is also called as a RESTful API or a RESTful web service. So we have already defined web APIs are called as web service here. So no need to write it again, but just be aware of this. Okay, please be aware. So if you are developing using SOAP, then it is SOAP-based APIs. Guys, everyone, open up your notepad and write down one-liner about when somebody asks you, what is an API? what will you say? When somebody asks, what is a web API or web service, what will you say? When somebody says REST API or RESTful web service, what will you say? Or somebody says SOAP-based API, then what will be your one-liner response? Everyone, these are common terminologies. It should be very clear to us. Very basics. These are like ABCDs, the building block of the real world. APIs. Write it down. One-liner about what is an API. Next, what is a web API or a web service? And it's not about memorizing it. It's about understanding and putting it into your own words. You go to interview and you give bookish definitions of this, basically rejection will happen. Theoretical definitions don't work out. You can open a diagram and quickly draw and say, okay, practical understanding is checked during interview time. So explain in that manner, practically. Two parts of the system. It is so basic common sense, right? Two parts of the system communicating with each other. That's an API. When this communication is over the web, HTTP, HTTPS protocol, we say it's a web API or a web service. How to develop web service? There are standards in the world. REST standards are there. SOAP standards are there. If you follow REST standards, you develop REST API. If you follow SOAP standards, you develop SOAP API. Simple, don't complicate simple things. Guys, please write it down, 4 things. Once you have written, please mark a poll here, then we will continue further. In order to build our first Spring Boot application, we need to understand this web world and all these things. Okay. Once done, please confirm yes, written all 4. Okay. Done. First complete it, then mark it. Chalo guys. Please mark this poll quickly. One-liner is enough. If you understand how these basic things work, then I think you will move very smoothly through the interview process. You don't have to do PhD in each of these topics. You get the basics clear, focus, move on further. There is so much to learn, right? So just keep moving on, keep learning, keep upgrading, keep practically building. Practical knowledge is required during interview time. Can you build the software? Not can you write theories about software? Can you practically build a software? So get practical knowledge. That's the difference. A working professional can do things, okay? Not be very like, not write big thesis about concepts, but can build softwares using the concepts. And that's what people need, working guys who can actually build things. So understand concept, but no need to do PhD in all the concepts. Take it, move on, take it, move on. So many new things will be there. Okay? Chalo, super. 100 plus members have voted. 95% people have completed. Guys, request everybody to take actions. When you write it in your own words, understanding comes. Okay? Otherwise, you will miss it. You will forget it. Because next, as soon as you're left with the session, you will do something else. You will forget these topics. So you have to really understand it, write it down. So that's how it will be in you. Let's move forward. Okay, now coming back to our topic, systems are communicating like this. So a common standard in the real world is to build REST API. Okay, common standard in the world is to build a REST API. So front-end application, let's take this example, front-end application can talk to back-end application, using REST API. Okay, that means if you put it into this diagram, so if this is your backend microservice and this is your front-end application, when they want to communicate with each other over the web environment, and that is where yesterday we said controller is the entry point. So in the controller, you need to do REST API style coding. Okay. Now, Now comes the interesting point, guys. Let's imagine you only know core Java. Okay. So you only know core Java. Let's say there is a very basic activity of login. So whenever this guy wants to perform a login activity, when it will make this REST API call, it is going to pass username, it is going to pass password, these two things to your backend application. Now, let's imagine you know core Java and you have learned JDBC. So service layer is using core Java, repository layer is using your JDBC knowledge. Somehow you will capture this username and password in the controller, give it to your core, use the JDBC, check whether this username password exists in the database, get a response whether it is success failure. Accordingly, you will write this logic. If it is true or false, then accordingly you will give some response back. Now just imagine if you only know how to do core Java programming plus JDBC programming, here you can write business logic. Right? Here you can write a business logic, login method you can write, with string username you can write. So you can write the service layer logic. String uname. Next, string PWD. And then you will write the remaining logic. Call the repository layer where you do this and check is logged in, is valid user. And if it is a valid user, you will say if it is true, then some behavior, and otherwise some other behavior. You will write this kind of thing. If is valid user, then you return some other success kind of response. Else you will return some failure kind of response. Now, let's say you know how to do this basic coding. If else, core Java, take the username, password, you know JDBC, so you will talk to the JDBC. There you will do all your connection related logic, prepared statement related logic, make the DB call and get a response back. Okay, everything is done. But how will you do this kind of a coding that outer people should be able to call this method? Now that is the main point here. You can learn your core Java, you can learn your JDBC, but in this kind of an application, the methods which you have written, if you want outer guys to call that, just your basic core Java knowledge is not enough. You need to do some socket programming so that these external people can connect to your service. Networking related programming you have to do, socket related programming you have to do, and it is going to get much more complex. So please be aware, if you only know core Java, you can write this business logic, but your business logic cannot be called from the outer world. It's practically not possible. This cannot be called from the outer world. If you want your business logic to be called from outer world, you need to do networking related coding. You need to do socket related programming. Maybe simple core Java application, no, you might need to have a server which runs and executes your application. Maybe a web server or an application server, so that outer world can reach out to you. So please be aware, if it is only core Java knowledge that you have, and you want that your methods should be called by outside people, then a lot of additional thing needs to be done. Which basically a developer job is what? To write the functionality. These additional things we don't want to write. And just imagine, you are working in a separate project, I am working in a separate project. We both know only core Java, JDBC. I also know that, you also know that. So you are supposed to do this coding about all these things. In my project, I am also supposed to do all of this coding. So first learning curve is there. Then when we code, We will make mistakes, then testing should happen, bugs will come, we have to fix that. Double work, right? Why you are also doing, why I'm also doing it? And just imagine 100 other projects, everybody's supposed to do that. So it's not smart approach. Yeah, you write your business logic, I will write my business logic, but this common logic, why should we write? That's where IT industry has evolved. We are not writing this common logic. This common logic is already written in the world by some of the companies, and you can use that, I can use that. And that is where framework comes in picture. Framework. So this is nothing but common logic, which majority of the application needs, is already coded and tested. So we can directly use this in our application. We don't have to develop it by ourselves. Try to understand the need of framework here. If you have written a simple core Java-based application, by default, outer people can never call your methods. If you want them to call your methods, you need to do much more coding than your simple business logic. You have to do networking, socket programming, and a lot of other things. So now learning curve will be there, time will be gone. So we don't want to do all that. So we will take the advantage of framework. So framework is what? Whatever common logics the application need. It is complicated. Don't say framework is simple. No, internally, lot of complexity which they have done. So framework guys have done some beautiful work, challenging, complicated things. They have implemented it already, tested it already, and saying, hey, rest of the world, just use it. So if you want to put this into a diagram, let's imagine this is your application. Okay, this is your application. You're using your core Java plus JDBC. You have written the login check, login feature you have built. But if outer world wants to call it, they cannot call this. You will need to add another code also here, so that these guys can connect to you, and then this code can further call this code. So we need to do basically double coding, our application level coding and all these additional coding as well. So we are saying, hey, we don't want to do that. This additional coding, we will say some framework should give us that kind of a code. Framework guys have already coded that, is available. We just need to take this code, add to our project. So somewhere in the real world, coding for this layer is already done, which will make your regular application a web application which can expose REST APIs. It's all available in the real world. And that is available in the form of frameworks. So frameworks will save your time. If you don't use frameworks, your life will be miserable. You have to do so much more coding, so much work will become, and basically your business will go to some other team. They will say simple thing. These guys are taking one month for doing it. Other teams are doing it in like 2 days. This guy needs like 1 month. Business will shut down there like that. So we need to use the frameworks so that we can focus on application development and develop faster systems. So what is a framework? The common reusable code which the world needs is already coded at one place and available. Everybody can take the benefit of that. So guys, that is framework. The common logic which majority of the application needs is already coded and tested. We can directly use it in our application. We don't have to develop it by ourselves. Okay, guys, open up your notepad and write down one-liner definition. What is a framework? Write it down. What is a framework? Why we need framework? In interview, very basic. These are basic things. What is a framework? Why we need framework? Write down one-liner about it. I'm starting a quick 1-minute timer here. Just a 1-minute timer. Be fast. What is a framework? Why we need frameworks? Without framework, you have to develop so much. If everybody has already done it, why should we develop it? Now, smart strategies, reuse. You focus on your application development. That's where client pays for application development, not for developing these common layers. Everybody please write. 34 seconds to go. Okay, 19, 18. Okay, final 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time's up. Okay, let's move forward. So, hope you are clear what is a framework, why we need framework. Framework is some common logic which the project needs. It is already coded and available. As an application developer, we should focus on functionality development, not on these common logics. And these are pretty complicated logic. If you want to develop it, it's a big project in itself. So we want to reuse it. That is where framework comes in picture. Okay, next point you have to understand. How will your project get this code? So these people have done some coding. How will your project get this code? So that is going to happen in the form of jar files, .jar file. So they might have written some code and given a file name, let's say file1.jar. Sometimes more than one jar files might also be there. Some other project they have written file2.jar. So whatever they have coded, it will be bundled in the form of jar file, and this jar file will be added into your project class path. So by this way, you will be getting this code in your application. So in the form of jar files, they will be doing the coding, which will be bundled as jar files. You will add these jar files in your project class path, and now your project gets the capability for doing this. Like this, imagine if I am developing it, I will just need to get these jar files, add it, and I don't have to do all of this networking and other stuff. Just because of this code, outer guy like front-end team can successfully call my application, and then it can run my logic also. We just need to add the jar files. So jar file is what? Code written by those people. You will take it and then put it into your project. We don't have to write it. And amazing results will happen. Others can access your system. Now just imagine, I did all these things. You are in some other company, some other project. You also want to do this. You will follow the similar approach. You will have your project. You will have your project. And then you will say, in my project, I will be doing application development, but all the common logic I want to use from the framework. I don't want to develop. So you will also take these jar files and add it. So one central people of the world has helped the rest of the world to build an application. And these are nothing but the popular frameworks of the world are nothing but some open source softwares. Open source software, nothing but their code is also available. Okay, what have they coded? And the people across the world can also contribute to this code so that everybody, the entire planet can be benefited. And that is where the most popular framework into the Java community comes, which is nothing but Spring. So Spring is that framework. Using Spring, in this example, we said, okay, we want to, whatever code we have written, we want to expose it so that outer people can call it nothing but REST API. Spring Boot team has written some code which can help you expose REST APIs so that outer guys can access your system. So Spring is that kind of a powerful framework. Now, please be aware, This is one type of application. In the real world, many more applications are also possible. So guys, what are we talking here? Fine, your project needs additional logic. We don't want to develop that logic because it is already developed, and that is a framework, common reusable logic, which is already available in the world. We just want to use that as jar files. One of the popular framework in the Java community and the most leading framework of the Java community is Spring Framework. We can use Spring to build any kind of application. So understand the power of Spring. Okay, Spring is the powerful framework in Java community. Using Spring, you can build any kind of application. So just imagine, in the world, thousands of projects are there, right? Different types of projects could be there. You can imagine all of this is available in the official Spring website, spring.io. So the entire framework related knowledge of Spring is simply available on this website, spring.io. If you can scroll down what Spring can do, using Spring, you can build all of these kind of applications. So please be aware, in the real world, different types of applications are possible. Spring is such a big framework that using Spring, you can build any kind of application. So that means once you learn Spring, entire next 10 years, 20 years of your career, you can build any kind of application. Projects might be different. Sometimes you want to build a microservice application, sometimes a serverless application, sometimes event driven, sometimes batch processing, sometimes GenAI related applications. Your projects might keep changing, but the framework is so powerful that using Spring itself, you can build any type of applications. Just imagine what Spring team would have done. Understand the scope of this now. This is a Spring framework, which is the powerful Spring framework. Spring is saying somebody wants to build GenAI related applications, nothing but your applications which can integrate with LLM softwares. Okay, make a call to the LLMs, get dynamic responses, get dynamic decision making. So what Spring team has done? Okay, they have created some code which can support GenAI applications, common code for GenAI application support. They are saying, if anybody in the real world wants to develop a GenAI application, we have developed the common things for you. Just get this project added, the jars added, and you will be able to enjoy the benefits of writing a GenAI application. Spring is saying, you want to build a microservice-based application, wonderful. You want to build a microservice-based application, all the common code for developing microservice-based application is also available here. Just imagine, if you only want to use microservice, you will take only this jar file. You will not take GenAI related. So please be aware, Spring is a very big ecosystem. Spring is not one small thing. Using Spring, you can develop so many type of applications. You don't have to take all the jar files with you. If you're developing microservice, you don't need GenAI related application. So you have to make choices. So please be aware, Spring is a very big ecosystem of common reusable logic. Using Spring, you can build GenAI applications, you can build microservice-based applications, you can build serverless applications, you can build event-driven applications, you can build regular web applications, you can build n number of other things, batch processing applications, cloud-native applications, reactive applications. What Spring has done, depending upon what type of applications required, Spring has done the common logic. Now, in the rest of the world, whatever your project needs, let's say you are building a different project here. And in your project, you need, let's say your batch processing is also there. Your reactive programming style is also there. Now you have to make decision. Okay, we are building a application. Let's say this is a microservice based application. And we also want to integrate with LLMs and make it a Gen AI based application. We don't need reactive, we don't need batch processing. So you have to make a decision. Okay, we want only these two. So what you will do, you will simply use the jars of this project into your application. And then you will say, I want to use Gen AI. Okay, happy. You can simply take this jar into your project. You don't need to have the rest of the code. So please be aware, Spring is a very vast framework. Using Spring, any kind of applications can be developed. Depending upon your need, you need to decide which of the reusable logic you want to add in your project and get started. Guys, let's take some time to summarize the power of Spring here. So why is a framework required? A common code we don't want to do. It is already done by some experts and available in the world somewhere. We just want to reuse that. Now, we just took one example, that exposing REST APIs. So via microservice related concepts, we can get advantage of some REST API related behaviors. By using this web app related concepts, we can get some behavior of the REST API microservice based concepts. Using web app related, you can expose some REST APIs. So all this code is already available in the real world. Spring has provided that. Now we need to decide which one we need and then add it into our project. And it is very much complicated structure. So Spring has tried to simplify it. Spring is saying, yes, you can build all of these kind of applications. Now you have to make a decision which code you want. So they have made all of that available as multiple projects. Just see, Spring has created so many projects. Now, depending upon what kind of application you want to use, these projects will have those kind of details. You want to do Spring Batch, then you can go here, and then Spring Batch related information you can all find here. So using Spring, so Spring has arranged all of its code in as form of multiple projects and modules. So just be aware, using Spring, you can build any kind of application. That is point number one. Depending upon what your project needs, you need to include those behaviors in you. Now, so many types of applications are there. How has Spring organized the code? Because in the world, so many things are possible. So Spring has organized this entire code in the form of projects and modules. So Spring is that vast framework using which we can build any kind of an application. This code is organized in the form of projects and modules. We need to include the right projects and modules into our application, and we will be able to build these kind of applications. Okay, so let's take some notes about this thing. Spring is a powerful framework. Using Spring, you can build any kind of an application, and they are constantly evolving. So if new things come in future, they will keep adding support for that also. Okay, next point you have to understand, Spring has organized all of its common code in the form of projects and modules. In the form of projects and modules. What is module? Module is part of a project. Okay, so module is nothing but some part of a project. So Spring has arranged all this code in the form of projects and modules. Next, depending upon what application you are building, you need to add right project and module in your application. By this way, what will happen? Common code will come. Depending upon what kind of application you are building, you need to add the right project and module in your application. So guys, take a minute to really understand. Don't rush here. with these topics, be here, absorb it, understand it. Okay, because here the mind starts changing. You know core Java, you know basics of maybe JDBC, but in the real world, we need frameworks. First, we need to understand why framework is required. Because if you don't know framework, you need to develop all of this common logic also, and which is impossible. Almost impossible. It will take months of time with bugs, errors, and clients will not be happy with that. So we need to reuse, and that is where framework comes in picture. It will provide us that kind of code which we will add into our project and use it. Now, in the Java related community, Spring is that powerful framework. Okay, Spring is that powerful framework using which any kind of applications can be built. So Spring has already provided common code for all of these applications. This code is available as projects and modules. They have organized it like that, projects and modules. Now, depending upon what kind of application you are building, you just need to get the right projects and modules added into your application. Okay? So everybody, please write down few bullet points about Spring. Everyone, whatever you understood here, please write down few bullet points about Spring framework. I'm going to start a 3 minutes timer here. You write down your understanding in your own words. I will just keep the home page here, what Spring can do. You write it into your own words just by looking here. Everybody, I'm starting a 3 minutes timer. Write it down because this is powerful thing. In interview, if somebody says, oh, framework, Spring, okay, tell me, what about it? Why are we using Spring? What's the power of Spring? What will happen if we don't use Spring? So you should be able to discuss clearly to the point with the people. 3 minutes timer started. Write it down in your own words. If words are not coming to you, think more. Go to AI right now. Ask a chat GPT, give me 3 pointers. Why to use Spring? Read that, understand that, and then summarize it into your own words. Okay, everybody, please do this. Come on, team. Final 10 seconds to go. So we need common logic. That is where we need framework. Okay, time is up. So guys, I'm summarizing it once more. Chalo team, once you're done, please give a quick thumbs up, then we will continue further. Chalo guys, please quickly confirm. Did you complete writing it? Don't complicate it. Keep it to the point. Framework is for common logic. And it is pretty complex. If we start writing it, it is going to take a lot of time. We want to reuse all these things. That's where we need frameworks. Spring is a powerful framework. So it's not like for every other project, you have to keep learning new and new frameworks. Not required. You learn Spring and then it's easy to work on any kind of application. That's the power of Spring ecosystem. Powerful framework. You can do so many things just if you learn Spring. Okay, what did we understand? Using Spring, we can build any kind of application. So for all of these type of applications, Spring has written already the common code. Thank you for the confirmations, guys. Let's resume back. Okay, thank you everybody for the confirmations. Let's resume back. So you can build any kind of an application and Spring has written common code for all that. This common code Spring has arranged in the form of projects and modules. Okay, this common code is arranged in the form of projects and modules. Okay, for example, initially, many years ago, Spring came, maybe 15, 20 years ago, not sure when was the first launch of Spring. Okay, let's try to check it out. ChatGPT. Okay, when was the first launch of Spring framework? Okay, let's see how old this guy is. Oh boy, 2002, 2003, 2004. Okay, Spring Framework 1.0 stable was officially launched. Like 22 years ago. Maybe you were born maybe at this time around that, like 22 years old. So at that time, Spring Framework came into the picture. Okay, Rod Johnson developed it. And over the period of time, Spring has continuously evolved. As the world has new and new projects, people of the Spring community are continuously adding new and new code. So it started with this initial framework, Spring Framework. And then over a period of time, so much more capability is added to the Spring Framework. Okay, so but it started with this one project, Spring Framework project. Notice currently version 7 is running here. So if you open the Spring project separately, okay, check it out. If we see what? Overview, learn, current version is 7 version of Spring Framework that is going on. And constantly they keep evolving. So over a period of time, the framework has evolved. And if you really check it out here, okay, in GitHub, yesterday we said, right, code should be tracked, code should be maintained. So in GitHub, they are maintaining the common code which those people have written. Okay, just check here, Spring related code. This is the project. Spring Framework is the name of the project. Under that, these are multiple modules: Spring AOP, Spring Aspect, Spring Beans, okay, Spring Core, Spring Expression, Spring JDBC, Spring JMS, Spring Messaging, Spring ORM, Spring Web. So when you are building this web application, REST API based application, you need Spring Web and Spring Web MVC dependencies. Nothing but the entire Spring code is available in the form of projects and modules. You go to these other projects, there also you will find something. So Spring Boot is one of the project by the Spring community itself. What is Spring Boot? Why Spring Boot is so powerful? Why we are using Spring Boot in the current time? We will understand that. But it is one of the project of Spring ecosystem itself. After Spring Boot came, the popularity of Spring grew like anything. So we will discuss what was that change. But for now, you should just be aware all the code which the Spring team has done is organized in the form of projects and modules. Okay, so that is what it is. Let's write it down. All the code, okay, all the code which Spring community has developed is available as projects and modules. Okay, notice when we went to this Spring framework, initially Spring framework was launched like around 20 plus years earlier. It was by Rod Johnson. Okay, current version of the Spring framework project. So there are so many projects. This project is running at 7 version. Spring Boot is running at 4 version. So different projects, Spring AI. Recently, abhi Spring AI revolution happened since past couple of years. So they are into version number 1. So as new and new things will keep adding, new and new things will keep going on. Okay, gRPC based communication, GraphQL based communication. So if your application needs GraphQL functionality, you will work with this code. So accordingly, all of these things are positioned. So what do we draw conclusion here? So don't get worried, Arey Bapre, so many things are there. Arey, not required. Depending upon your project, maybe 1 or 2 things from this will be required for you. But be flexible to learn new things, because you might go into any project. So you might practice 3, 4 things from here, but in your project, 5th thing is there, which you don't know. So you have to learn to read the documentation, work with the AI, and build applications using that. That's what is a smart developer. So become a smart developer. So what is understanding the framework? It is all about understanding how Spring operates. How do you work with Spring to achieve these kind of projects? So yes, we are going to get into details of that. Okay. So Spring, all the code is available in the form of projects and modules. Next point, we saw that the code of the Spring is kept inside open source, inside GitHub. So here you can check it out. Okay, code available in GitHub. Nothing but open source we are saying. For example, if you just click here, Spring Web. Okay, notice SRC and then main, let's say Java, and then let's say HTTP. Notice people are making modifications to this right now also. 3 months ago, somebody modified this folder. 4 days ago, codec folder is updated. 2 months ago, 2 weeks ago. So the framework is being constantly worked upon. Different people at different pace are making modifications to this framework. So please be aware of that. And notice, this is all some kind of a Java code available. This is what is that common code that we are talking about. The common code is already coded by the framework and is available in the form of projects and modules. And depending upon what you want, you need to take the right projects and modules and work in your application. Hope that is all clear to you now. Yes, so the code is available here. I will just take this reference and paste it into our notes also, so you can do some exploration here. So the code is available in GitHub. This is the common code that we are talking about. And we just need to take this code in the form of jar files and add to our project, and we will get that power. Okay, jar files, get it into the project, you will get that power. Okay, now comes the next point. How do you really get these jar files? Okay, how to decide? So many projects are there, so many modules are there. So it's a complicated world here. How do you really take? What do you want? So for that, you need two powerful capabilities. One is you need to have the support of a build tool, which is nothing but Maven. Maven is going to help you to find the right jars and give it to you. So we don't have to go to the projects and get the jars by ourselves. Maven is going to do that for us. So without build tool, we cannot work in projects. We need a build tool. Like Maven is a popular build tool in the Java community, which is going to help us in getting these required jars. These jars, we can call it as dependencies. So Maven is going to help you resolve these dependencies that people will say. So the jars are called as dependencies. Using Maven kind of a build tool, we can get these jars and add it into our project. Okay, next, when you are building Spring Boot application. Now, what is Spring Boot? Where it is required, we will discuss those things later when we get into more details about Spring Boot related work. So we will get into the details later, but Spring Boot is for faster application development. In the current time, if you start a new Spring project, people are developing with Spring Boot only. The Spring Boot became so powerful because using Spring Boot, you can develop any of these applications in a rapid, fast manner. So Spring Boot is not an independent, just side project. Okay, only one project is a Spring Boot project. No, using Spring Boot, you can build all of these projects in a rapid, fast manner. And that is where the entire power of Spring multiplied when Spring Boot came into picture. So fine, GenAI is a separate project, microservice is a separate thing, reactive is a separate thing. So you have to choose. But Spring Boot is such a kind of a powerful project, which is for rapid application development. You can build any other type of project in a rapid manner with Spring Boot. That is where Spring Boot is so popular. Okay, so for now, just understand this much. Spring Boot is for rapid application development. What is rapid application development? Faster application development will happen. Okay, and using Spring Boot, you can build any of the Spring capable project in rapid manner. So whatever Spring ecosystem supports, Spring Boot can help to develop it in a rapid, fast manner. That is where Spring Boot came. So guys, we are talking, how do you get these jar files into your project class path? There are two concepts here. One concept is using Maven. It is going to help you to find the right jars. The second concept is Spring Boot related features, Spring Boot starters. So again, Spring Boot starters will help to get the required jars quickly to you. For today, only understand just this much. More details about starters, we will be doing it in later when we will explore more into the Spring Boot ecosystem. For now, just understand, we need to somehow get these jars into our project. We can do this simple login based functionality. Core Java logic, we know how to write a class, how to write a method, but we need this additional knowledge, additional jars. Spring is giving so much. How do we decide which project we need, which modules we need? How do we get these jars into our project? You have to just know there are two concepts which can help you do that. Concept number one is build tool. Concept number two is Spring Boot starters feature. Okay. So guys, everybody quickly make down a note here. Make down a note here. Spring keeps the code. Everyone, please make down this note. Spring keeps the code organized as projects and modules. Okay. In GitHub. It's open source. So we all can see the source code. Right on this point, Spring keeps the code organized as projects and modules in GitHub. It's open source. Okay, next. For our project, we need to take this Spring code as jars. Okay, you can do that using point number one is Maven build tool. Second one is Spring Boot starters feature. Just write this much. This is enough for you for now. Okay, it's 11:30. We are done with 1.5 hours. Still half of the topic is left. We will be doing practically all these things, but you need to understand what's happening behind. Then you can write your first application very smoothly. Guys, quickly write this down. Please write this much. Please write this much. Practice is the key, guys. Understanding the world, understanding the software world is required. Mug-ups will not help you, guys. Thoda intelligence is required. Fine, doesn't matter how you lived your college, how you passed your examination. Past is past. Chhod do. Going forward, become more intelligent, become more smarter. Try to understand things. Try to really experiment with things. Get deeper grip on the concept. Because those who really understand, now they will become winners. Because when they speak, you will be able to influence during interview. You will be able to impress during interview because your depth of knowledge is going to be impressive. Those who talk definitions, a top high level broken knowledge, such people will not have a chance in front of you once you really talk to the core and do it. That's what experimentation, right? So guys, once you're done, please give a quick thumbs up. Please give a quick thumbs up. Quick. Okay, multiple members are confirming. Awesome. Okay, let's continue further. Now we want to build our first Spring Boot application. I think we have the background for this now. Now we are ready to build a first application. What do we want to do? Let's just simply imagine. Okay, we will simply create, okay, one microservice application. Guys, understand the need. We will create one microservice application, okay, which will expose REST API. Okay, let's say to add two numbers. Very basic addition. Right from core Java, we do this addition, take two integers, return a sum back. So one microservice application which will expose a REST API. So REST API means other guys can call your code. And for now, simple two number addition logic. We know A plus B. That's it. Val1 plus val2. That's it. So this is our aim. So first of all, we need to really ask ourselves a question. Okay, we want to build it as a Spring Boot application because all the projects in the current time is with Spring Boot only. Okay, so Spring team has given this kind of a URL, start.spring.io. This is Spring Initializer. So in order to build your Spring Boot application, one way is directly go here, fill up some details, and your first application will be just created like that. So you don't have to write entire thing from scratch. All these jars and everything, you can just get it from this simple UI console itself. So please notice, Spring Framework has simplified the application development like anything. Okay. So now we are able to see here. Please note, now this is interesting. Spring Boot based application we want to develop. So this page is going to help you develop Spring Boot based application. The latest stable version is 4.0.6. So whichever one is not having anything in bracket, So that is the stable version. Here some experiments are going on. Once it becomes stable, next version will come here without anything. But current stable version of Spring Boot is 4.6. Observe from this page, you can develop a Spring Boot based application, not just in Java programming, but also in Kotlin and Groovy programming also. Okay, understand that. You can develop a Spring Boot based application, not just in Java, but also Kotlin and Groovy programming. Why? What are these things? These are also JVM based languages. Look back at your core Java knowledge. When you compile a Java class, you get bytecode, and this bytecode further executes in a JVM. So when you build Kotlin and Groovy, there also bytecode will be formed, and that you will be executing into JVM. So these are all JVM based languages. So Spring Boot support any JVM based language. Please be aware of that. If you look at some time ago, while we were exploring this, let's say SRC main, are you seeing here? Inside Spring Web, one of the guy has even coded in Kotlin programming also. So Java related code is there. Java, SRC main, Java related, even Kotlin related. And this is what you are able to see here also. So these are all JVM based languages. So you can build a Spring Boot application into any of the JVM based language. But yes, the popular implementation is into the Java side. So we will be learning it from the perspective of Java itself. So what do we draw some conclusion here? We can build, no need to take any notes now, observe, just observe, understand, a lot of new things we are discussing. Okay, we can build our first Spring Boot application using Spring Initializer. Okay, using Spring Initializer. This is the URL for that. That is point number 1. They have given a faster way for creating your first application. Second point, any JVM based language can be used for building your Spring Boot application. Any JVM based language can be used for building your Spring Boot application, which is nothing but Java, Kotlin, Groovy. Okay, we will use Java itself. When you are using this Kotlin and Groovy, okay, this project should use which build behavior? So using Gradle. So Gradle is another build tool. So you can use, if you are using these other two things, you can have Gradle based option. But for the Java related, most of the people by default go ahead with Maven as the build tool. So Maven is required. So please be aware, how many build tools? Okay, Maven is one of the build tool. Gradle is another build tool. But yes, commonly for many projects for Java, we use Maven itself. So that is okay. Some of the projects might have Gradle also, but yes, comparatively few. Maven is dominating for building and dependency management. So please be aware. So one more learning which we got is, okay, build tools, Maven, Gradle, but Java related, this one is mostly adopted. Okay, next moving on. Spring Boot ka latest version, Spring Boot latest version. Okay, next. Few details are available here. Now we need to understand that. That's it. Once you fill this page, left side, right side, our first application will be ready. Then we just have to code our two addition logic there. That's it. So all the jar, whichever we were speaking, the projects and all the dependencies should come to you. It will all come just by filling these details only. And then you can get this project in your local machine, and then you can start further adding your code there. So that's how simple it is. This page will create your first project. And then in that, you can add your logic. All the jars and everything will be managed for you just by this simple page. Now let's focus on this next part here. So whenever you are building a project, there are some details associated with it, like group, artifact, the base package of the project. Okay, and then these some additional details. Let's start getting into details. What is group? Group helps to identify which company is building the software. Okay. So what is a group? Group helps to identify which company is building the software. Please be aware of that. Generally, what happens? If the company which is building the software is Google, so Google domain is google.com. So group is going to be reverse of google.com, which is com.google. This is how your group is going to be identified. The domain is unique for a company. Accordingly, you reverse that, and that will be identifying as the group. So guys, group says which company is building this software. Generally, the domain name is going to be reversed, and that's how the group is going to be decided. Okay, so let's say com dot, instead of my example, if your website is mycom.com, reverse of that group is going to be what? com.mycompany. By this way, reverse of that. So we can say group is com.mycompany. That becomes your group. Okay, that is the first point. Clear. Now, second point, what is this artifact? And what is this packaging? These two things mostly will be related to each other. Artifact and packaging. So generally, a common practice in the current time is jar-based packaging. Okay, what is this? You need to recollect yesterday's session knowledge. Let's say you have done your project. This is your project code. Project code. And let's say this code is available into your local machine. Whatever you have done, the coding is available into your local machine. This code needs to be deployed in AWS. Yesterday we said, right, AWS dev testing is going to happen. So your code, which is in your local machine, needs to go to AWS for execution. How do you do that? One simple stuff will be, whatever your project is there, from this project, we will, let's use the right terms now, we will package it as a jar file and copy this jar file to AWS environment and run the jar file there. That is where packaging jar file. So what is going to happen? Whatever project code you have written, you will be packaging it as jar file. Package as jar file. Okay. Let's say app.jar. So that defines the package. And what basically comes here, demo, is nothing but when you build the jar file, this part is the artifact name. This first part is the artifact name. This portion, the artifact name. Sometimes version will also be appended to that, but nothing but when you are building the project, finally output file which will be created is called as artifact. Okay, so what should be the name of that artifact? And then the second part is defined by packaging. Do you want to create a jar file or a var file? two options are there. Majority of the Spring Boot applications of the current times are using jar approach itself. So when the output of your project is going to be a jar file, what should be the name of that jar file? This artifact is going to define that. So if you say demo, fine. So that is going to be the output. So please be aware, we can say demo app. Anything is fine. So demo app is going to be my artifact. Same goes for your project name also. And then you can define generally the package. What is a package? Whenever you are defining a package, all your Java code that you will do in this project should belong as a child package of this one. Please be aware. So let's say we will say demo. Artifact we will keep demo. Package name will be like this. So please note, once we build the jar file, the output file is going to be demo.jar because of these two packaging. And what is going to be your package name? In core Java, you have created packages. So all your Java classes of your project will belong under this package itself. Please note, this is how your positioning of your Java code will be there. This becomes your, this is called as base package. Base package. All the Java code that you write will belong only as child of this one. So you can have something like, let's say, a.java. You can have something like a.java. You can have something like b.java. You can have child packages of this one. For example, okay, you can have something like com.mycom.demo. Okay, child one. And here you can write another in this c.java. So n number of child packages are okay. But all the Java code that you write should belong as this base package. That's it. The Java code will always belong with this base package. Means you cannot write and you should not write anything like this com.mycomp and then here you start writing my class.java. No, this is wrong. You're not supposed to do that. So please be aware of these things. This is wrong. So base package means, okay, this base package. So all the Java code that you will write will belong as a direct class under this package or sub packages. So that is what is the third thing. So guys, what is this? Please write down, open up your notepad, guys. Write down one liner about this. You can build a Spring Boot application using any JVM based language. Write down the first pointer. You can build a Spring Boot application using any JVM based language like Java, Kotlin, Groovy. Guys, everyone, please be fast. You can build a Spring Boot application using any JVM based language, Java, Kotlin, Groovy. Okay. Second point. Maven is the build tool commonly used for Java. Second point. Maven is the build tool commonly used for Java. Third, current Spring Boot version is 4xx. For our project building, we will use 3xx. Okay. Versions are constantly adding more and more stuff itself. We will use some 3.x version. Current version is 4.06. Write on the third point, 4.06. Next, write down one line about group. Helps to identify which company is building the software. Group helps to identify which company is building the software. Next, artifact. The final output file that will be generated by your project. Artifact, the final output file that will be generated by your project. Into bracket, it will represent your project code. Your entire project is going to be bundled inside a jar file. So that is an artifact. Next, base package. All the Java code you do should belong in the base package or its sub-packages or sub-packages under base package. Okay, please be aware of this. So this is wrong. You cannot put it here. And this thing is valid. Okay, chalo, that's about the base package. Next, moving on further. So while doing the project, some configurations will be available. Just be aware, there are two ways of doing the configuration. One is via property file, another one is a YAML configuration. Okay, so it just looks like this. Okay, for my Spring Boot application, give example of property file and corresponding YAML file. Okay, just notice here, this is a property file configuration. Some file name with an extension .properties. Sometimes in the project we need to configure something in our property files, so it is going to be like this. Equal to is the separator, left hand side is key, right hand side is value. So this is the syntax. Properties will have key, value. Equal to is the separator. These other things, dot in between is only for more grouping them together. Spring dot data source dot URL, data source dot username, data source dot password. Nothing but inside Spring dot data source, these further properties are available. It's only for grouping them together. So dot gives more clarity. Okay, Spring dot JPA dot, JPA dot, JPA dot, logging dot, level dot. So it basically just groups together. Okay, so what are the things about the properties that we understood? It's basically key, value, configuration. Equal to is the separator. Dot is only for more readability and grouping the properties together. That's how a property file is represented. Next, same thing structurally can be represented as a YAML. Notice something like this. So we will just simply take this example. So side by side, we can do a comparison. So if we take this property and put it here, this becomes your property. And correspondingly, if you go here, this becomes your YAML. It's just a different representation, nothing more than that. Again, this is also key value only, but format is different. YAML syntax is different. Okay, notice here. This first thing, spring.application.name equal to like this. This is configured in this manner. 3 levels, spring colon, application colon, name colon, and then the actual value is mentioned here. Next, okay, now look at this part, interesting. With YAML, what this is there? Spring.datasource.url. If you look here, the first word spring is common here also, and here also. So in the YAML, it is covered only one time. And inside that, we have the other two. Notice. So YAML is going to follow some syntax here. Spring dot application. Spring dot application will be represented like this. Next, spring dot data source is mentioned. Spring dot data source. And under data source, you have other properties, so which is specified in this manner. So guys, no need too much worry. It's only a difference of representation. Basically, it is to represent key and the value. That's it. Okay, whichever you want to use for the project is fine. It completely depends upon your team decision, your decision. Both of them does the same work. Sometimes people will say, hey, this is more readable. All these things are grouped together rather than so many dots and all that. So it's basically a choice. But both are to define basically keys and the values. And this is how the representation will be. Okay, fine. So now you want to decide in your project how this configuration is supposed to be. Okay, and that decision is happening here. Right hand side is called as a YAML file. Left hand side is a properties file. Okay, fine. So chalo, we are done with this also. So let's continue with the property related configuration so that we can add next change. In the project, we might need to configure, okay, some key value setup. So we can use either properties file or YAML file. Okay, both are okay structurally different, but doing the configuration itself. Basically, it is key value. In a property file manner, it is key and the value. Okay, so guys, just write down one liner about this also. Configuration file. So in interview, they might say, okay, what about the configuration file? Or for beginners basic, they might just say, hey, this is your property file. Can you represent how it is going to look at in a YAML? They might just ask these very basic things. So just be aware, syntax will differ a bit like this. Please write down these few things, guys. Please write down this one line also. So base package is done. Now we are talking about configuration. Please write down this point. Configuration file can be either properties or a YAML file. That could be your side. Config file can be either properties or YAML file. Okay, and then I will share the images anyways later with you. Okay, hello guys, quickly. Lot of things. We are talking to the point. The way in the project, the way you touch directly onto the important things, that's how we are covering so many things in a short bundle of time. Okay, and that's how you have to learn fast in the industry. You cannot just keep playing around with this, that. You have to learn things in like 2 days, 3 days and start delivering it. So industry is high paced. Okay, that's where we are keeping the pace high as well. Chalo. So configuration is done. Next, we want to choose the Java version. Let's go ahead with the version number 17 itself. Okay, so far so good. Next, now we need to add Spring related jars into our project. So what is our aim? We want to expose some REST API. That's our aim, right? We want to expose some REST API. So now we have to make a decision. What dependencies you need? Nothing but what Spring and Spring project and modules you need with you. So we can simply say add dependency, and you can say here web. Notice, in order to build RESTful APIs, you can use Spring Web. Even for building Spring MVC based applications, Spring Web is going to happen. So like this, with simple naming, behind the screen, all the jar dependencies, version, all of that complexity is available. But for developers, you want to build a REST API, simply come, type a web, Spring Web, that's it. Now your project will have the capability to have all the jars which are needed for RESTful API development. Okay? So it is that simple for developers. So behind the screen, they have so many projects, modules organized. But when you want to use, you just need to define, okay, what do you want? Spring Web dependency. So when you add a Spring Web dependency, it is explaining you what kind of project capability you will be getting here. And it says something about Apache Tomcat. What is that? We will discuss it shortly. But for now, just be aware, okay, some dependencies will come, means this is the ready-made jar code will come to you, which will be helping you to build REST APIs. Okay. And for getting the required jar, it will be using Maven. So just be aware, everything is already here in the configuration. Okay. So once you do this, base project is ready. If you want to see what the base project is created, you can click here on the Explore. And this is how your project is going to look like. This is how the project is going to look like. When you use Maven, all the Maven configurations will be inside pom.xml. This is how the pom.xml looks like. And it has given something else also, like src, main Java, some demo application. So this is the base project setup. And notice here, if you go back to the pom.xml and check here, whatever group ID we have chosen is coming here. Whatever Spring Boot version we have chosen is coming here. Notice Spring Boot version is coming here. Group ID is coming here. Our artifact ID is coming here. Some version by default they have populated. Next, choose. See, we have used Spring Web. So it has added Spring Web MVC dependency. In the latest versions, they are using this kind of Spring Web MVC dependency. And we said, right, to manage all the jars, Spring Boot starter feature is available. So Spring Boot starter feature, Web MVC is available. And this is all available as part of pom.xml. Nothing but Maven is being utilized. So some time ago itself, we said, we need to have these jars in our project. How it is utilized? Two concepts are there. One concept is using Spring Boot starters. Second concept is working with Maven, and then accordingly, the required jar files will come and sit in your project class path. So that's so amazing, right? Okay, so guys, let's do a close. So once you do all this filling, that kind of project will be created. And now you can click on generate, so that project will come into your local machine. Okay, so the project is going to come into your local machine. So that's how we can get it here. Some zip file which will be having your entire project code. Next. So if you just open this project, all the Spring Boot application code is here. The first Spring Boot application code is already ready here. Now, what we will do in order to code. So guys, what is our first step? First step is what? Go to start.spring.io and create your first Spring Boot application. Next, add a Spring Web dependency so that you can do a REST API development. Next, download the project. Downloaded. Next, we want to do some coding inside. Okay, we code in IDE. So guys, now you need to have some IDE set up with you. Okay, so already in our session material location, yesterday in the WhatsApp group, we shared this session material location. So in this session material V1, today also in the WhatsApp, we will be sharing. Already there are some files added there. Inside there is one file called as tools and softwares. So here you can find some links. Okay. From there, we are going to use Eclipse IDE. So you can install, go to again spring.io.tools. And here, just see, you can go ahead with Eclipse and you can get STS for Eclipse. Visual Studio Code is available. Cursor is a AI agent, AI IDE, AI first IDE. So you can use these kind of things and get it as well. So we will be using Eclipse for all our demonstrations. So you need to get all that, unzip it and set it up in your IDE because we will code it with IDE itself. Okay, it is your choice which you want to do, whichever IDE you are comfortable. So developers will pick based upon their preferences. Okay, fine. Next, that is going to be our next thing. Set up an IDE. So we will be using Eclipse STS. What is STS? Spring Tool for Eclipse. So they have taken Eclipse is the primary name of the IDE and they have added some Spring capability to Eclipse and made it available here. So Eclipse is the primary IDE. With STS, some customizations they have done for more ease of work for Spring-based application. So you can take that and work with that bundle. Okay. Similarly, they have done the similar work with Visual Studio Code also, Spring Tool for VS Code, and things are set up by these guys already, Spring Tools. Okay. So you can go ahead, download it, and it is going to look something like this if you have installed it. So this is a plain cursor. This is Visual Studio Code. It looks like this. This is Google Anti-Gravity, AI first tools. However, this one is Eclipse STS. It will look something like this. Okay. So that will be your next step. So I've already launched it, but let me relaunch it once more. So once you install it in your machine, make sure Java 17 is also installed. Okay. So go ahead, take up Java 17 from official Oracle website. It might ask your Gmail login or something. So just log in and download the Java 17 from official Oracle website. First, you do that. Second, whatever setup required, adding it in the path variable and other things, please do that so that you can go ahead. Even if you run something like this, Java space -- version, it should be able to read that. So please make sure Java 17 JDK you are installing and setting it up in your IDE, in your local machine path, so that when you go here, if you type this kind of a command, yes, your Java is available. So that is step number 1. Once your Java is installed, then you go ahead with your setup of STS Eclipse as well. Okay, once these two things are done, next comes, okay, fine, let's launch this. So step number 1 is Java 17, and from command prompt, you have to verify Java -- version. It should be done. After that, install IDE. It's your choice, but we are demonstrating with Eclipse STS. Fine, let's launch it. What is the next thing? So I'm having the 4 wala. Nullity test, I think, is 5 available. Next point. Whenever you're launching the IDE, it says which workspace you want. So for your project, you need to create a separate folder location. So please be aware. Okay, something like this. Create some kind of folder location. It's up to you. Let's say D drive, and you can simply put June 26 CT. So something which talks about June 2026. CT is for career transformation. So you can put any name. Okay. So, but this name should identify the project that you're doing. So if you are working in one project, you can simply say here proj1 or D drive workspace / proj1. If you go to another project, you're working on parallelly one more second project, you can put all of that under proj2. So locally try to be a bit organized. All your code and documents and everything with regards to project one, you keep it under the workspace of this project itself. So it becomes easy for you to understand. Next, when you launch the IDE, you just have to give one more folder name here, which will be /IDE. So your main folder location is this one. And under that, you create one more like IDE. So no need to create this kind of a structure. Just if you select it here, IDE will create it for you behind the screen. Okay. So, but yes, whatever is the base project folder location, on that further you say /IDE. Why? Because IDE might generate some plugins and other things behind the screen, so which will go under this /IDE folder location. So please be aware, this is the base folder where all project documents will be available, and then you create with one /IDE. So your specific things will be available. Okay, so this is our location. This is our location, base project location. This is the IDE location. Fill it up, launch it. Okay. So this is how it is going to come. One by one, now we have to work with this IDE panel. Okay, first approach is very simple. Currently, the project that we have is available here. Just imagine, we went to start.spring.io, we have the project here. We need to take this project and add it into IDE so that we can do some coding. So project is already there. We want to add it into IDE. There is a feature in IDE called as import project. So if you do import project and choose Maven, you can select existing Maven project, and using this, you can import that project into your IDE, because that is a Maven project. So we went to start.spring.io and we have selected a Maven project. So whatever we got finally, that is a Maven project. You can take this and import it into your IDE using this option. So what is our first aim? First aim is the demo project downloaded from start.spring.io. We want to import into IDE for further working. Guys, everyone just focus here. No need to make any notes, and don't start doing the setup right now, because every minute new discussions will happen and so many things are there. So be focused here. Once the session is completed, then you can continue doing the rest of the activities. Otherwise, you will then miss out a few points and then full grip will not come on the topic. So this downloaded project, we want to import it into IDE. Just observe what am I doing. So first of all, I'm going to this location where the download folder is downloaded zip is available. Next, in my local machine, we said everything should be under this location. So let me launch this location. That is our workspace location now. This is our workspace location. So what are we going to do? Basically for this project, whatever we do, we will do under here. So I am now creating a new folder here, explore. And let's just move this demo application under this explore folder. Just moving the demo here. Okay, now next, let's rename this application. So it becomes just demo.zip and simply extract it here. So right click, extract all, whatever location, just get it. And just notice, okay, demo inside demo, one more folder. But yeah, the project is available here. So what did we do? Under explore folder, we extracted that application. So under explore, part of the same project. So we will put all the documentation here itself. Whatever exploration R&D you want to do, you can keep doing it under the explore folder. So as we start working more on the project, new and new folders will start appearing here. That is where it needs to be organized. So guys, what is our next point? Okay. Unzip the demo under explore folder for your project base location. Next, now we will be importing into IDE. That is where comes this option under explore. This is the project. Here is the project. Whatever location where the pom.xml is available, you need to copy this location where pom.xml is available. And then you have to import it here. How do we import? Either you can just click here, import projects, or you can do file, import. Okay, so file, import. Here you type Maven, select existing Maven project, and then click on that. Root location, you need to paste that location where pom.xml is available. Okay, next, make it a habit. Whatever is the root folder name here, in advance name template, choose the same folder. Make this a habit. Okay, let me take a screenshot of this. Anyways, everything is recorded. But yeah, so here you need to put that location where the pom.xml is available. Why am I speaking so basic, so ABCD style? Because it is your first application. Okay, so put this, get this, whatever is the name of the folder where your project code is there, same thing, you make it as the name template and then finish. So let me take a screenshot and I will be putting this into this diagram also. And hope you know, by end of every session, whatever we are drawing here is all available for you guys as well. So if you go to this session material, inside the live notes, yesterday notes are available here. What will happen is, if you open those notes, all the diagrams that we are drawing during live sessions will be available as part of this. Plus, while we take these live sessions, Google Gemini is continuously summarizing it, all the notes of the 3 hours, and that summary is also updated in your daily session notes. So if you want something as a text form, whatever we spoke throughout the main summary, Google Gemini has summarized. Google Gemini has whatever we spoke throughout the main summary, Google Gemini has summarized it. So even for today's session, we will be taking it. So later on, you can take this summary, dump it inside your ChatGPT or Claude version, and then speak with it to get some bullet points and understanding on top of that. So even when today's session is going to be done, it will be also having a new document under this location with these 2 sections. Live note will have top diagrams, and under that, whatever is there in my notepad, all of that is going to be available. Next, separate tab, AI summary, where Gemini summary of the entire 3 hours of recording is going to be available. You can understand all that in a top summary manner, plus in a detailed breakdown manner also. And you can take this, pump it inside a AI version and chat with it as well to ask more questions on top of these things. Okay? Make it a habit to do self-exploration and you will get better grip on the topic. So now all the diagrams which are available here, today's notes will have all these diagrams also. Okay, moving forward. So we did an import and notice, yes, we got our application here. Left hand side, we got an application. Let's quickly look right now. SRC main Java. Here all your Java code will be available inside SRC main Java. Next, SRC test Java. When you do any unit testing, it is going to be available here. Looks like the start.spring.io has added some unit testing also. If you open, just look, they have added some demo application, some basic unit testing code they have added. @Spring Boot test, @test, some basic unit testing code they have added. What is that? We will understand later. But yeah, they added something under SRC test Java. So we need to be aware here all the unit testing code is going to be available. Next, SRC main Java. Here all your Java functional code is available, going to be available. This becomes your base package. If you remember, we chose this as our base package, com.mycom.demo. This was our base package which we selected inside this website, com.mycom.demo. Accordingly, it is created here. So going back to that conversation, all the Java code that you write should be under this package or its sub packages. Remember those things. Okay? So SRC main Java will have Java code. SRC test Java is going to have the unit testing code. Here under Java, base package is available. Currently, they have written one class. This class is the starting point of your Spring Boot application. For now, no need to worry about what is this annotation, what is that. Just be aware, core Java, you know, public static void main. And that means when you run your Spring Boot application, this main method is going to run. And this line number 10 is where the magic is going to happen. Your entire Spring Boot application is going to start here. For now, no need to worry about what this annotation does, what this run does. That we will understand later. For now, only understand demo application is the starting point. Okay, so rather we can expand here, and notice even this Maven dependencies. So many jar files already came to us. So many jar files are already there to us. Observe here, right? So many jar files came to us. Notice Spring Web MVC. Spring Web MVC related something also came to us. Spring Boot Tomcat related, Jackson related, Spring Boot Servlet, Spring Boot Web MVC, auto configuration. Notice all this is nothing but the code which is available in Google Drive. Google Drive, no, code which is available in this Git. The code which is available here, the same code will have come to your local machine as well. Okay, for example, let us just go here and let's see what is this class, JSP template availability provider. If you try to go here and try to search maybe in Spring Framework, and then we try to go to a file, okay, here directly it's not able to find. Indirectly, they might have loaded it. JMS template, JDBC template, retry. Let's try to pick this up. Some file like this. REST template. Let's try to check it out. REST template, some class came here. It is available as part of what? Spring-web. Let's just check it. REST template do we have? I think we should build this application once. It is trying to find some files inside. Notice spring-web.jar. Spring-web.jar is having this class REST template. Observe here. REST template is available here also in the GitHub location of the Spring system. Notice these guys have written some code here. Observe that public class REST template extends intercepting HTTP accessor, implements REST operations. Notice that same code is coming to our project also or not. So whatever is available inside GitHub, the framework related code, somehow the jar files came to us in our local also. Okay, so just be aware of that. Okay, yeah, using this starter and Maven concepts, we can get everything in our local as well. So we are just trying to understand what this left-hand side folder is. And if you further go here in the pom.xml, this is where those people have the Maven configuration. This is where the Maven configuration is available. Okay, so we can just understand this main folder structure here. Let's put it into a diagram. And we can identify and displace main folder structure. Okay, src main Java. This will represent your Java code. com.mycom.demo. This is going to represent your base package. Base package. src main resources. Any other files that you have other than your Java code, you can put it here. Property files, configuration files, HTML files. Okay, so under resources, other than Java files, let's say for example, config files can go here. Property files can go here. Next, here unit testing related code will happen. Here unit testing code. Unit testing code. Next, we said Java 17. Somehow all the Java 17 related dependency came to us. Because in our start.spring.io, we mentioned Java 17. If you go to this pom.xml as well, here you will see somewhere Java 17 is specified, right? So we chose it and accordingly it came here. So Java 17 dependencies came to us. Next, Maven dependencies. Somehow based upon our starter, okay, and Maven capability, we got all the required dependent jars there. Okay, got Maven dependent, got Spring Boot app dependent jars based upon starters and Maven configuration in pom.xml. In pom.xml. Okay, next, what is this pom.xml? This pom.xml is the file for Maven configuration. So for Maven build tool, Maven config file is going to be inside pom.xml. Okay, now you can check it out here. Inside pom.xml, if you go for this dependency, there is a UI view also. So when you click on this pom.xml, you get an XML code variation. Okay, when you click on these dependencies, you can see this kind of UI view. Okay, how many dependencies have you added? If you notice here in pom.xml, there is a dependencies tab. Dependencies tag. Inside this dependencies tag, we have added Spring MVC and Spring MVC test. V means who? Start.spring.io guys itself. We only selected Spring Web and we got these dependencies. So look at it from top to bottom. Okay. Spring Boot version 4.6, group ID, artifact ID, some version by default they are assigning. These are just basically empty tags. Next, Java version is 17. Dependency, it is Spring Web. Because of this, we will get the capability of making REST API. For unit testing code, something was added, right? So this was this dependency which added unit testing, and this Maven plugin, this is required for running your Spring Boot Maven application. A lot of Maven based commands will be there for your Spring Boot. You will get that capability using this configuration. So that's how your pom.xml is there. Okay. Next. So your next point is explore the project created from start.spring.io and understand what is what. That is what you have to do. Step number 5. Step number 6. If you open this pom.xml, just notice by default whatever code is coming here, it is giving red mark because one of the certificate has expired. Instead of other places they are using HTTP, one place they are using HTTPS and their SSL is off. So you can simply remove it so that compilation error is going to be gone. So just correct that. So if you don't want to see that kind of a red mark, so just fix it because their Maven related some HTTPS configuration is missing. Fine. Once we have this, you need to learn few Maven commands. Okay. Few commonly used Maven commands. Dekho, our aim is what? Code a REST API to add 2 numbers. Then we want to execute it. So we want to code it, we want to execute it. Now, try to imagine when you write simple core Java, what do? First you code, then you do Java C, which is nothing but compilation phase, and then you do execution using Java command, execution phase. This is how your simple core Java application runs. We are getting into the very basic foundation of how a web application, REST API based application should execute. So in a simple core Java application, first you code, then you compile, then you execute. What you do in a Spring Boot application, some commands will be changing for you. Okay. Step number 1 will be the same. First you will code. Rather than directly executing, you need some things for even compilation phase. So coding step is going to be there. Next, compilation step is going to be there. And then execution step is going to be there. Okay. Currently, we have not touched any code. But let's see, whatever they have given, we will try to execute what is currently available without even a code change. Okay. So that will be our approach. Whatever we got, we would like to execute this. But in order to execute, before we have to go through some compilation building phase. Using Maven, there are few commands which we can practice here. MVN clean, MVN package. These 2 commands are going to do your compilation related work. Basically, clean is going to do something like deleting some previously generated temporary files, and this guy is going to do the actual compilation work and jar building work, something we will be executing. But please note, for working with a Maven based application, you need to use some Maven commands, MVN clean, MVN package. And for execution purpose, you want to run your Spring Boot application. there is another Maven command, mvn spring-boot:run. By this way, execution will happen. Okay. So coding, yes, we have to do the coding for two numbers. But before we do that coding, whatever they have available, whatever they have done right now, let's assume that itself is our code. Then we have to do compilation, and compilation will include these steps. Then we have to do execution. Execution will include these steps. Okay, so please be aware of this. Next, how do we do these two steps? Multiple ways are there. One way could simply be in the location in your machine where you have your pom.xml. You can simply go here, cmd, open your terminal, and if Maven is installed in your machine, okay, let's see. Yes, it was able to get the Maven version for me. If Maven is there in your machine, you can run these kind of commands here itself. Maven clean, Maven package, Maven spring-boot:run. This is one of the way from your local machine terminal you can execute it. Okay, another way is directly from your IDE you can execute. Okay, what is that? How do you do it? Simple. Right click, run as. You do this Maven build with 3 dots. It will open a pop-up in front of you. Here you can type the command. But you have to remember this point here. When you are running this Maven command from this pop-up, you should not use mvn word in between. So the standard Maven command is mvn space clean. But when you run it from your local terminal, then you will be using that kind of mvn word. But when you run it from your IDE, here you only specify clean, not mvn space clean. Otherwise, it will not work properly. Okay? So when we try to do this mvn clean, let's see what happens. We will be doing run. Okay. Notice it pops up a console. And what is clean trying to do? Clean is trying to delete some temporary file. Okay. So first of all, we need to go to start.spring.io, fill all the required details, build the first application of Spring Boot. This application, we will be downloading it into our local application, then local machine. Then we take it, export it, get this into our IDE. Now we are discussing about how do we work with this application. So it is 3 steps. First step is we have to code our application. Second step is we will be compiling it. Third step is we will be executing it. So these are the 3 stages. Currently, we have not coded anything here. Okay. However, whatever is the first application, so with that itself, we will be resuming. After that, we will do the coding. Okay. Next comes the second part, compilation phase. So with regards to compilation, we came up with few commands. First is mvn clean. Next, mvn package. So what are these commands? Now we are getting into deeper about it. Step number 1, you can run these commands from your local machine if Maven is already installed. If you have not installed Maven in your local machine, so then you cannot run these kind of commands directly because it needs Maven. Another thing is, if you have your IDE already, so no need to install Maven separately. In your IDE, Maven will come by default. So you can use the IDE directly to run the commands. No need to separately install Maven in your machine. But when you run it from your IDE, your command is going to be different you don't use MVN. So if you use it from IDE, you simply use clean and simply use package. So how do you operate it from your IDE? So right click, run as Maven 3 dots. Okay. Right click, run as Maven 3 dots. Then you have to give the command something like this, package. So earlier we tried a clean command. Now we are targeting package command. Let's see what happens when you do package. Okay. So we are running it. Let's observe what happens when we do package. Okay. 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 Build success. So when we did a package command, let's quickly look what it tried to do. So copying one resource from SRC main resources to target classes. So internally, there is a target folder which Maven is using for its actions. Whatever is available in SRC main resource, we have application.properties. It tried to copy it into some target related location. Next, it tried to compile one source file using Java-C. So we already know Java-C is for compilation. So compiling one source file using Java-C, and after that, that file was also available inside targets classes. Okay. And after that, what? It is again trying to do test compile for test classes. And then notice, so we have one main Java class and we have one test class also. So it tried to deal with actual Java class compilation, and then it tried to deal with test class compilation also. And after that, it tried to run the test cases also. Notice, running demo application test. So it tried to run the demo application test also. So whatever is the code available inside that, we can imagine it tried to start the Spring Boot 4.0.6. Okay. And finally, it prepared the jar file. Notice this is the artifact name. This is the version name. So in the pom.xml, we have the version also. So it has taken that version name. So artifact name, version name, and then we said it has to be a jar file in the bundle. So it has created that. So please notice, inside the target folder itself, it has prepared the entire jar file. So this much amount of work happened when we did package. Okay. So what happened at a high level? When we executed package, it compiled our main Java classes, next test classes, next config file was moved to target location. Okay. After that, it tried to run the test cases, ran test cases. After that, just notice it ran all the test cases. After that, it built the jar, and then the work was completed. Build final artifact jar, and then work completed. This much amount of action happened with package. So all this is part of packaging. So before you want to really execute it, you need to have all this bundle. So with package, we can achieve that. Okay. And second thing, when you try to do a clean, we realized it just deletes this target folder. So clean will delete the target folder. Delete target folder. So we saw an experiment. Okay, how we did clean. So it deleted this folder. And after that, when doing the package, it did so many things. Basically, just try to understand the main purpose of package is it is going to compile the Java classes. Okay. Next, it is going to run the test cases and prepare the final artifactory file. Okay, this is what is going to happen. And if you notice here, this final jar file is available in the target location. So if we go to this place under demo, there is a target folder. Under the target folder, this jar file is available. Okay. And notice these other things. If you click this jar file, I'm trying to open this jar file. Let's see if we are able to somehow get inside this jar and observe it. Let's say right click, 7-zip, open archive. Okay. So we went inside this jar file. Let's try to observe what is available here. org, Spring Boot, okay, lib, notice. All the Maven dependencies which were there in our project class path, somehow they are moved inside this lib folder. Means for running your Spring Boot application, we will be needing these libraries. So all those jars are bundled inside this itself. Okay. So that's pretty good. Second, inside classes, notice we saw some code here. Okay, move something inside the target classes, right? So when we were looking at this code, we saw move something inside target classes. So from SRC main resources, one resource was copied here. Notice that is also copied here under classes folder. Okay. And from there inside the jar, it is also available. Next, and whatever is our main class is also available here inside the classes folder itself. So please be aware, when you do a package, internally it builds a jar file and not only just compiles, but all the compiled related files, our Java code, our configuration files, and the dependencies also that we have, everything is bundled as a jar file. So now what happens? This jar file, you can move it into AWS for execution. Okay. So this jar file, once it is available, you can move it into AWS. So like we were doing yesterday. So once we did all this, the jar was there. This jar is having everything, your Java file, your source code. This jar is having your Java code as .class file. Next, your configuration file. Next, all the jar dependencies. Everything is in this bundle. How did we prepare this? Using the command clean, using a command mvn package. When you run it inside IDE, we don't need this mvn. So directly the packaging is happening. Now what we can do, this jar file, you can take it to AWS and there you can run it. And it will be full-fledged running our Spring Boot application. It is going to full-fledged run our Spring Boot application. Run our Spring Boot application. Okay, so that is one way to look at it. Now just imagine, if you want to run your Spring Boot application from this jar file, what is the approach? Okay, so we said for execution, there is this third command, Maven Spring Boot -run. So this is one way of running it. Second way is, if you have jar file, from jar file also you can run. What is that? Simple command, java space -jar, then your filename.jar, filename.jar. Okay, so this is how you can do the execution. So if you want to run based upon jar file, This is your command, java space -jar. If you want to run you as a Maven command, you can operate like this. So guys, we are going to look both of the approaches of how to start. But basically, guys, 3 steps. You compile, and first you code, then you compile, and later you execute. Now, please be aware, instead of running these 2 commands separately, you can also run it as one mvn. First use this clean, then space use this package. Okay, mvn clean package. You can operate like this. So in one command itself, both things can be done. Okay, let's quickly test it. So if you are doing this clean package from your IDE, you can simply do here. Okay, let's get out of this target folder because it might try to delete and stuff there. So I'm coming out of that target folder, and then try to right click, run as, build clean package, and here we go. Let's see what happens. So both the commands together, notice. Okay, let's see. Are we part of the demo folder? It is somewhere not able to delete the file. So let's do this one thing. Okay, let's clean this. Here, what is our locations? We need to come out. Make sure it should be able to successfully delete the file. We opened the jar and other things, right? So when we are trying to open that jar file internally, if it did not release it properly, so maybe it would have occupied our folder location as well. But let's try again. We'll do a Maven clean. So we double clicked on that jar file. Okay, so we are not able to release it right now because we have double clicked on that jar file. So cleaning operation is not happening. It will need a laptop restart now in order to really make the clean work properly. So that is the problem. We went to that jar location and we tried to double click on that. So behind the screen internally, the jar might have activated somewhere. So that becomes a problem. So it is not able to now delete the target folder. So then we will need to restart, or using our control panel or task manager, find that task which started when we did a double click on that jar file. Okay. However, we will try to then if you try to build it again, package, let's see what happens. Right click, run as, build. If we try to do a package, I think here also there will be a problem, but let's check it out. Because it will again try to build another jar. So till this point, it is all okay. Again, when it is trying to build the jar, let's see what happens. Yeah, it is facing problem because the first time jar which we created, we double clicked on that. So internally in a Windows process, that jar is active. So it did not really close it properly. So because of that, it is having some struggle in properly releasing that process. Okay, so just be aware, if you restart the laptop now, that problem is going to be sorted. But yeah, these kind of issues can happen because we went inside the target folder, tried to open something which Maven was trying to manage and clean stuff. Okay. However, we will try to run the application and see how that happens. So we go here. Let's go inside this target. Okay, already we faced one problem inside target. However, at least we will go to this place, demo. Let's stay one level at this place, CMD. And we will see inside target. Okay. Yes, that jar location is available. So let's come out. We said we can run this command using java space -jar. Let's under target. Under target, we have this folder file name which was available, demo jar. So I'm copying this and let's try to run it from this place. Okay, so it did not build properly, the build is not happening, so it did not package it properly. So let's try to run the second way here then. Right click, run as. Okay, spring hyphen boot colon run. Let's see whether this option takes over. Otherwise, we have to restart the system once. That's the problem. When we try to execute, it is already occupying this port. So these kind of issues will happen. Let's fix it. Okay. So it is saying the previous process is already running here. Okay, on 8080 is in use. So we will say how to identify a process running on 8080 in Windows and stop the process using command prompt. Let's see. So we can find something like this and then we can run this kind of command. Let's check it out. So we go here. Okay. So yes, on 8080 already there is one service running. So we will be liking to stop it. Okay. So this is the way, identify the process and stop the process. So this is our process basically running on 8080. This is our process ID. So for stopping the process, this command is available. Here we need to use this process ID. Let's check it out. So these kind of things will happen when you are doing some project, like you open that jar file, it started some process behind the screen. Because it was started, it is not deleting the target folder also. It is not recompiling it as well. So now we found key, okay, when you try to start it, it is saying port was already in use. So two services were trying to occupy the same port, so which is not allowed. You will have these kind of observations. So what we are trying is, we are trying to stop the previously running port first of all. And for that, we went to ChatGPT, got some commands, and we realized this is a process ID, which is listening on 8080. So we would like to stop that process ID first. Okay, how do you do that? We found, okay, this is the command. So we will take this command, task kill, and then put it here, and then try to do. Okay, the process with this one is terminated. So once the process is terminated, let's try to again start the Spring Boot application. So let's apply the first approach for starting the Spring Boot application, which is spring-boot run. Using this command, we would like to start the Spring Boot application first. Let's check it out. So here we go. Right click, run as, Maven build, and then you do spring-boot run, and then try to run it, and let's observe. Nice. Notice Tomcat server started successfully. We will draw the conclusions. The point is, these kind of things can happen in your part when you're doing coding and all that. So good that these kind of hiccups came. So on the spot, then we have to think, oh, I double clicked that jar, so something might have happened. Because of that, this is not working. Because of that, that is not working. But when you're figuring it out, we came to a point, okay, 8080 port is already started. And on that, we are trying to start again. That is what is the problem. So we deleted the previous one. And now we said, so that then it is saying something has started properly on 8080. So what is this Tomcat? What is this starting? We will understand these things one by one. But for now, just note, okay, we are able to get the Spring Boot application back up. Let's try to do that other experiments. Since we close the process, now let's say whether clean command works again. So I'm stopping this now. Okay, let's try to do this command once more. Right click, run as Maven build, and let's do a clean. Let's see whether this works properly this time. Build is successful. So debugging is required. Okay, if something is not working, we need to think, oh, what has gone wrong? Point is, it is trying to delete a folder, but the file inside the folder, when we double clicked on that jar, it tried to start the application also. And because of that thing, when it is trying to delete the folder, it was not working out. So the clean command was not working earlier. But in order to go to that conclusion, we had to then do these kind of commands, find K, which process is running on 8.0. That is where project knowledge is required. You need to have this knowledge key. Two microservices cannot start on the same port. If you're starting a Spring Boot application, by default, it is occupying 8080. Again, you are trying to do it, it is not going to do. So 2 times, you cannot run the same service with the same port. This kind of background information is required. And that is where it is required to understand these things. Not blindly saying, okay, do this, do this. So people are using AI and just blindly giving K without understanding the things, which is going to be a problem. So, okay. So I think now we can start with back our experiments. So let's do combined command as well. Right click, run as Maven build clean package. Let's try to do it once more. You're trying to run 2 commands together. So just see. Let's let it happen. Now the full build is successful. Everything happened correctly. So yeah, all those problems were there. Okay. So guys, let's draw the conclusions. Observe how have we troubleshooted. This is troubleshooting. This is debugging. This is identifying what is going wrong and then fixing it. This is a life of every developer. Okay. So when you're doing something, things will not work as expected. Then you have to connect the dot K, what is going wrong? And then you have to figure it. So guys, what is the process here? In order to work with our first Spring Boot application, 3-step process, you need to do the code first. After that, you need to do compilation. After that, you need to do execution. So coding part currently, okay, whatever came from start.spring.io, we took that by default. For the compilation phase, we realized we can use Maven commands. And using that Maven command, we realized one command itself can do the work, mvn clean package. If we do this mvn clean package, it is first going to delete, and then it is going to compile and then prepare the jar file. Now, this jar file can be even used for starting the system. Let's look at that. Currently, we have built the jar file. Okay, currently we have built the jar file. It is available here. Demo jar is available here. We will like to start that application. LLDIR. Okay, let's go ahead. Inside target folder, we have this demo jar. So we will run, let's say, Java space hyphen jar demo this jar. Let's see what happens. Notice Spring Boot application is coming up from this place also. So this is what you can start your application in this manner as well. Java space hyphen jar and then the name of the jar file. So it is going to be one way to start. The jar file which is prepared here, you can run this command and you can start here. So just imagine if you move this jar file into AWS, here also you can run this command, let's say Java space hyphen jar my hyphen app dot jar, and it is going to start the Spring Boot application there. Otherwise, the second command could be, if you have that pom.xml with you directly, you can run the second command, which is spring-boot:run, spring-boot:run. This is also a Maven command. So it goes like this, Maven. But when you run it inside IDE goal section, you simply use like this. Okay. And the recommended approach is, before this command also you put a clean. So it will freshly do it for you as well. So there are multiple approaches to run your Spring Boot application. Approach number one could be just running the command like this. Okay, it started. Remember this point. When it is already running one time, it is occupying the port 8080. If you again try to start even via some other approach, it is not going to work. So remember this, one service can occupy only one port and default port is 8080. One service can occupy one port. Default port is 8080. So when you run the service one time, it will occupy 8080. If you try to run the same service again on, okay, it will try to occupy 8080 again. So second time it will fail. So please be aware, second time it is going to fail. And that is what we earlier had a view also. Just imagine, from one side, you have already started 8080. Now let's say you go to the IDE and you now try to start the application one more time from this place. Okay, so we do spring-boot:run. Again, you try to do it from this place. Skip test if you do, it will not run the test cases. So just be aware of those kind of things. When you do package, generally that skip test is going to be useful for you. Let's observe. Yes, this is expected to fail. Why? Because port 8080 is already in use. Who is using it? Our command is using it. So we need to have this understanding. Same Spring Boot application, you're trying to run multiple times. Every time it will try to occupy the same port. Default port is 8080. So we are facing the problem. So how do you resolve it? You need to, suggestion is also made here. Look, identify and stop the process that is listening on 8080, or change your application to listen on another port. So we can do these kind of things. So either you can go here and you can stop this using Control-C, and then it has stopped the application. And now if you start here, it is going to work out. Right click, run as this, and then you do spring-boot:run, and then it is going to work this time because the previous process is now stopped. Let's check it out. See, it is started on port 8080. So when you today do all these experiments, so you will be able to better get a grip on the topic. Now, please be aware, you are inside. If you try to play around with these, currently we are inside the target folder. So if you try to do clean, will it really delete it? We have to really experiment with those things. If you see that that could be a problem, just do a cd space ... and be outside that folder so that the cleaning operation also happens properly. So just be aware, think smartly, and then experiment. So if we close this, I'm stopping it and again trying to start once more. So right click, run as, here we go, Maven build, and this time we will run clean space spring-boot:run. Be careful with the command. Some syntax problems here, there will be issues. So clean space spring-boot:run. In one shot, we are trying to do both. Let's run it and let's see what happens. Okay, first it tried to delete. Notice when you ran these two commands, it worked successfully. What did it do? First, it tried to delete because of clean command. Then it tried to copy src into the target location. Then it tried to compile our Java file. And next, even test case, it tried to compile. Next, it did not run the test cases. Okay. However, it started our Spring Boot application. So with this command, we were also able to work with it. So today you need to experiment with these commands. Okay, now there is one more way of starting a Spring Boot application. Multiple approaches are there. Whichever developer finds easy, they will apply that. For example, you can again stop this one here. Please note, always you have to stop the existing one. Otherwise, new port will not run. If you don't know where is the existing one, yes, with ChatGPT we worked, right? And we got how to find the port which is already used by the system. Follow that instructions and then you can stop it as well. Let's look at one last way of starting the application, and then we will be completing the today's session. And then tomorrow we will do coding using our REST API using GitHub Copilot agent. Okay, so let's find this one thing. Right click, run as Spring Boot application. So this is another shortcut way of running the system. Right click, run as Spring Boot application. Directly IDE has given that option. So you can click here and notice by this way also you can start your Spring Boot application. So this is also started. Tomcat started on 8080. So what is that? Right click, run as Spring Boot application. Okay. Some people try it this way also. Okay, I'm closing this. Let's check it out whether this also works. Go to the main class. Go to the main class and here try to do right click, run as Java application. Okay. Sometimes people can try with this hook also. Right click, run as Java application. So going to the main class, in local you want to do some testing. You want some shortcuts, easy, quick way. You can run this as a Java application. Let's see what happens. Notice this is also starting your Spring Boot application. What happens when you run it as a Java application? The main method is executed. Spring Boot activates when this main method starts. So the point of all this experimentation is to understand there are many ways to start your Spring Boot application. Whatever you are comfortable with, you can choose that in your local system. How does it happen generally in the production or AWS system? Okay, for that, the simple approach is jar file-based approach. Locally, you will prepare the jar, copy the jar there, and then use this command. This is how you will do it in the environments. Java space -jar. But in your local machine, whatever is more convenient to you, you can use that kind of an option. But in environments, it will be via this approach. Okay, so we can even say this, and then on the main class, run as Java application. This is also one of the way. Okay, so guys, everybody, are we clear with this? Please give a quick thumbs up. Are we clear with this? All the experiments we have done and are able to figure out what went wrong, and we even debug something. Today, you are supposed to do all these experiments. Okay. So remember important point. Remember important point. The default port for Spring Boot application is 8080. Okay. Default port is 8080. Second thing, remember, 2 times when you try to run the application on same port, then it will fail. So 2 times you cannot run it on the same application, it will fail. Solution is you need to find the existing execution and stop it. And because there are so many options, people might generally get confused. Okay, what is happening? Why am I not able to stop it? So you need to use AI wherever required to identify, fix the problem. Okay? And yeah, if you have engaged with target folder and doing clean, okay, that might fail, because if your folder is already engaged, you're trying to delete a folder, it might not really be allowed at the operating system level itself. So we found some scenarios of that, and accordingly we managed it. Okay, so chalo guys, thank you everybody for your time. We wanted to even do more experiments, but no problem. Tomorrow we will continue on top of this today's concept. Okay, so tomorrow we will be first setting up GitHub Copilot and code our REST API using GitHub Copilot. And then we will continue with some other basic setup like Lombok is required, DevTool is required. Almost every project we need this. SLF4J with logback is required. Every project we need all of these things. We will do that. After that, we even want to work with AWS tomorrow. We will be deploying our application in AWS. And if time permits, we will even launch another technical concept of working with profile. So there is something called as Spring Profile. We need to understand what is that and how we can work with a profile. Let's see, tomorrow all these technical discussions will happen. But for that, today's topic was the core foundation. You need to understand what is framework, why it is so powerful. Next, what is power of Spring Framework, or power of Spring Framework. And then you have to build your first Spring Boot application. You have to then build and execute it in local IDE. We have not done any testing and API development. We will do that tomorrow. But this much you are supposed to do today. Set up the IDE, set up the environment, Java, and then just make sure you're experimenting with all multiple ways of starting the application, building the application, Maven commands. If required, install the Maven in your local laptop and then try to run the commands. From the IDE, try. Means make yourself very like hands-on in this. Okay? Looking at the error, you should be able to spot, okay, hey, what is going on. So if you can do that, grip will come, confidence will rise automatically. Okay, chalo guys, thank you everybody for your time. We will be connecting tomorrow morning 10 a.m. back again. Okay, chalo, thank you everybody. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye. Okay guys, have a good day. See you tomorrow morning 10 a.m. back again.